What's good? Welcome to Chit Chat with Church, and it's your favorite Bronx site, Nova Church. And I got a special guest for me today. It's a good friend of mine, my homie Carlos, aka Run Man. Make sure y'all follow him on Instagram at runman84. So we out here today at the New York City Marathon, and we thought we would share some conversation with you, some of our views on why we out here today at this rowdy, loud, electric, heavily populated race, which a lot of people want to take part of. And let me let Carlos take the mic and hit you with a few words. We ain't playing this. We out here. So I just want him to share his experiences with marathons and why he runs in the first place.
What's good, people? This is Carlos. Like you said, runman84. That's the IG handle. I'm just excited to be here to just be able to experience this with all these runners out here. It's been amazing. I've done it before twice. It's an exciting process. The Bronx is lit. We out here just doing what we need to do, representing. And a great tip that I've learned is just sometimes you gotta be out here cheering to get yourself motivated to go out there and want to do it. So I cheered before. I've ran it, and I'm just more excited to get back out there and get out there and hit the pavement again.
So Carlos, out of all the experiences you had running the New York City Marathon specifically, what's the greatest takeaway? Like as far as maybe a learning experience or a life lesson, something in that aspect?
Yeah, so for me, I understood this takes work, and the experience is humbling. Being out there, training, some people 12, 16 weeks out there, dedication, being able to do this with a full-time job. People have kids, people have a lot of other responsibilities. The biggest takeaway from all this is it takes a lot of grit and perseverance to go out there and hit 26.2. It's a hard, challenging thing, but it's well worth it. When you go out there and you hit that finish line, you're just full of joy, you want to cry, but most of all you want to say, finally, I did this. And the biggest takeaway from that is that humbling experience, hitting out the pavement, it's just amazing. I'm just so excited about doing it again, man.
So I'm running the 2020 New York City Marathon, and Carlos is also. So we're super excited and ecstatic to get ready for a new endeavor next year, and the training process and everything it takes to reach that goal, and not just reach that goal, but to surpass it so you can finish strong. So out of the training process, what's your favorite part of training for a marathon, and what's your least favorite?
So I would say my favorite training process is being able to just I run out there and I do enjoy the shorter distances on the training runs. Sometimes I don't like the longer distances, like the 18 miles we got to do and those crazy distances. But a lot of times when you go out there, you're going to see a lot of people you know, or you may not know, running out there too. Some of the same routes, and a lot of my routes involve some in the Bronx, some in different locations in the city. And a lot of times when you're out there training, you're going to see a lot of people, and it's just going to bring some good joy. But yeah, the short distances that I enjoy more, some of the speed workouts that I had to do and tempo workouts. But the longer runs, a lot of it I was doing by myself. I didn't like it, but I got it done no matter what.
All right, so now when you're running 26.2 miles, that's a great distance to cover on your feet. And you could see a lot of different things, whether it be building structures and beautiful architecture throughout the city, or it could be some nice routes in the parks where it's nice green spaces. But you can also see crazy things like somebody trip and fall and get hurt, or I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but my question to you is, what's the craziest thing that you have seen or experienced running these this crazy distance?
So I guess one of the most craziest things I've done that I've seen. So I've seen one thing actually in the marathon that was pretty tough, and that's why we need to pay attention where things are dropped on the floor, because a a fellow friend of mine, someone threw a banana peel right in the middle of the pavement on the road where she's running the marathon, and she slipped on it. She really injured herself. So that was one of the things I saw really bad out in the marathon. Crazy stuff I've seen outside, running sometimes late at night. I was training one year where I was coming out of work 7, 8 o'clock at night and running, and just sometimes people are not used to seeing one person running out there in the night. People get frightened, so I had someone jump and thought that I was going to hit them or something. So that's probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me and stuff like that.
I don't know. One of the thoughts that came into my mind as I was asking the question is something I've seen myself, and I was wondering if you've seen it. Well, I'm sure you have. It's just not what you stated. So now, one of the things that I have seen that's crazy is the bloody nipple thing. Like when you're running this distance and you're sweating and your shirt, you know, is rubbing against your nipples, and you start chafing to the point where it's ripping the skin. I've seen people with blood leaking all the way down their shirt, and they don't even know. Because their body's just kind of numb to it, you know, and then as you stop running and you feel this tingling, like the salt from your sweat starts stinging your nips, you know, and yeah, that's one of the craziest things I've seen. And also I saw someone peeing on themselves. I saw pee running down the person's leg. I was like, damn, that person's sweating heavy. And I'm like, hold up. That sweat yellow, yo. They're not even hydrated out here running this 26. You know, so those are the two things. So right now, we're going to cheer on some people because we're being selfish. We need to share some of this energy with some of the running. But we're going to come right back to you with a couple of peoples out here. We out here at Mile 20 in the Bronx, right off of Willis Avenue Bridge. And we are out here with Bronx Soul and the Bronx Nomads. It's a Bronxite, it's a fellow Bronxite out here cheering the good runners out here. And so we want to talk to a few other runners, some of the Bronx Nomads and some of the Bronx Soul members on their experiences with marathons. We'll be back right after this. So I'm here, you know what, let me let you introduce yourself, because we out here with Bronx Soul and the Bronx Nomads, and I have a Bronx Nomad member. And I told you I was going to talk to you. I was going to have some people talk to you about their marathon experiences, so I'm going to let him introduce himself.
How you doing, guys? I'm Frank, a.k.a. 7.
Well, on social media, where can they find you at?
7 o'clock in Instagram.
All right, so we was talking a little bit off camera about his marathon experience, but I want you to hear in his own words about his own experiences. So, how many marathons have you participated in?
I say about 6.
All right, and you ran New York City Marathon before, correct?
Correct, like 3 times.
So, he has ran this race 3 times. What years have you ran this race?
Say 2014, 2016, and 2017.
All right, in those years when you participated in this event, what are your takeaways? Any life lessons, anything that you learned through the experience of training and then coming out here and finishing? Like, did anything that you could highlight from that if you had to like bottle something up?
No, I'd just say I'll be better at my dieting. Dieting's very important. That's what I slacked off at. Other than that, everything went cool. Everything was all right.
So, like, when you mention your dieting, like, where do you feel you lacked at?
Just about everything in the dieting. You know, it's kind of rough where I'm at in my position with the dieting. Being that I'm diabetic, which makes it a lot harder.
So, you feel like going forward with your next marathons, you're going to take the nutrition a little bit more seriously and what? Like, maybe educate yourself a little bit more about meals and things you should eat?
Yeah, definitely. I think that I'm gonna put that first. That's gonna be my major thing is the dieting. That's what I'm gonna start to do. That's what I'm gonna focus on. I think everything else will be easier.
So now, coming out here today, cheering on all the runners and keeping this event lively is, I'm sure that's what you out here doing. What do you feel you personally get out of coming out here and doing what you're doing today?
The support. Want to support some people and also want them to motivate me to get back into the game.
But I want to thank you for having this conversation with me. Is there anything you would want to leave with people who maybe want to run the marathon one day, or anything you just want to say in general?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, don't worry about what people say. If you set yourself a goal, go for it.
That's right. Set your goal up, plan for it, achieve it. If you plan it out and you put everything in the right positions to achieve everything step by step, the goal will be achieved. It's not impossible to achieve what people always say is impossible. But we out here, New York City Marathon. We're going to keep it pushing. Thanks again. Oh no.
No, he did. But he's out here.
Oh wow, that guy dad just passed away. He's out here running, probably in his memory. All right, we out here, we back. New York City Marathon, full effect as you can see. People passing by. I had to pull this guy away from cheering for 1 second. I let him introduce himself. What's your name, young man?
Justin Mache. I'm one of the founders of Bronx Soul, running and walking group here in the Bronx. I'm here because we have some runners. We have seven runners running the New York City Marathon.
So now, when you train for Oregon, right? What are your takeaways from your training? What things do you feel that really benefited you on the day when you ran your 26, on the day of your actual race?
What benefited me was I trusted my training. You're always supposed to trust your training. I trained hard I think I actually overtrained. And I feel like I overtrained so much that I didn't run 2 weeks before my marathon because I felt like my legs had enough and they needed to rest for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks before my marathon, not saying I would suggest that to anybody else, but it seemed to work out for me. I mean, I ran it 3 hours, 52 minutes, 45 seconds.
Wow, that's actually a pretty phenomenal time. So, at the end of your race, what do you feel are the positives and negatives on your body from running this crazy distance?
Ooh, I mean, once you hit the wall, I hit the wall at mile 15. And most people hit it later than that, but I hit it early, and I drug it all the way to the end. But it's just the cramping. It's the cramping. You're feeling all the pain in your legs, and it's just a lot. It's a lot you just got to push it out of your mind and focus on the end goal, which is finishing. And that's all I focused on, was just finishing. You just got to finish and follow the person. I just follow the person in front of me.
So you kind of make like a mental hook onto the person close to you, and as long as they're moving forward motion, you'll continue to move forward motion.
And if that person stops, then you just find another person and just make that person your goal. If somebody that's always staying a little bit ahead of you, so I just follow that person. A marathon isn't easy. If it was, everybody would do it. But I mean, it's such an accomplishment, and it's such an awesome feeling after you finish it. So there's nothing like it.
So that would be your positive, the feeling you get just from finishing. Because I asked you what was the negative and what was your positive. So your negative was the wall, hitting that wall, creating a mental game to keep moving forward. And then the good part is
yeah, the good part is the end, the finish, to get the medal. But what I was gonna say is it's all a mental thing. In your mind, majority of the time you're thinking negative thoughts, or at least I was. And I was like, oh, I want to stop, I want to quit, why am I doing this? Am I running too fast, am I running too slow? Maybe I need to slow down, or you're just thinking a lot of things. You have a lot of time. You got 26.2 miles to think a lot. And your mind is all over the place, and all you have to do is just focus on and just keep remembering. All I kept flashing back to was my training, and when I was at this moment, every mile that I reached, I was like, oh, I remember that run when I made my first 18 miles, my first 20 miles, and then anything after 22, I was just like, it's brand new to me.
So basically, you're just jogging your body's own memory, like, I did this before.
Yeah.
It's doable. It's not impossible. I actually did it at some point in time. Now, 26.2 miles is a long distance to be running. What is the craziest thing that you've seen out on a marathon route, whether racing or cheering or in general? Like, what's the craziest thing that you've seen?
Well, I guess today was the craziest thing. This man was running in his underwear and a bathrobe on.
I missed that guy. So he had a bathrobe where he had boxes of briefs.
It was briefs.
So was he fast?
He was pretty fast. Yeah.
So he passed us pretty brief. I'm sorry. I'm a dad. I got dad jokes. So now, what do you get out of being out here cheering for all of these runners in the most electric probably race in the world?
I mean, I love the sport of running. I'm always gonna love it, and I love cheering for people. I love seeing the people, and you give so much love because I receive so much love when I run races, and it's just like if you're a runner, this is how you give back. It's like recycling. It's like recycling. It's ongoing. Like you run, and some other people cheer for you. If you're not running, you cheer. That's just like it's like a commandment of running. If you don't run, you cheer.
So I hear these theories about how circle of life, right? It is the circle of life and the circle of energy, and how can we sustain the planet? How can we sustain energy? And it's almost like everything is circular. What goes around comes around. So it's only natural as a runner receiving so much cheers and kudos when you're out here. You feel basically magnetic. It's a magnetic pull to be out here to return that favor. And it's almost like protecting the planet, and they're giving us that oxygen to keep moving forward. So it's basically the circle of life of Rima Way, man. Kuda Matata. So, is there anything you would like to leave the people with? Any words of encouragement? Anything you would just like to say in general? Completely, the floor is yours. Well, the concrete, we in the BX. BX, stand up, let's go, baby.
BX all day.
And where can people find you on social media?
At Bronx Soul, Bronx SOLE, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we run every Tuesday. Francis Siegel Park, 153rd and Grand Concourse. In the Tuesday evenings at 6, and we do history runs on Tuesdays, Saturdays at 10 a.m. It's just a regular run. Come out.
So we back out here, New York City Marathon, mile 20 in the BX. You already know, and I'm here with a friend of mine, a fellow runner. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and we'll have a little conversation.
So my name is Eric, and I run with the Boogie Down Bronx Runners. We out here in the New York Marathon.
So we out here cheering on these runners, and he came over to mile 20 from the Boogie Down Bronx, who's closer to mile 21. 20.5 to show some crew love and so I was like, yo, we got to chop it up, we got to talk about this marathon thing. And can you give me a little background? What is your experience on running, and when and how did you get into it?
So this is my first year running. I started running with Boogie Down around March. I kind of started running solo in December because I always loved like the thought of running, right? Like but there was always something blocking me on doing it. So I don't know. It came to a point. I don't know if it's because I turned 25 or whatever, but I was like, I need to do something and not and stick to it, And running was that for me. So, like in December, I had a cold and everything, but I would go every Saturday and I would start running, and and I kept doing it, and then eventually my mom's friend Anel, you probably know her, she runs with Boogie Down as well. She introduced me to Boogie Down, and then after that, I just kept going to the track nights or whatever, and then they said they had Tuesday nights, and I went to Tuesday nights, and eventually I started doing the long runs. I know, and then I started doing the races, and I know it just kind of it made me feel good. I felt good. I love to see everybody else, and it became like a family, and like not just the Boogie Down, but the Bronx Souls, the Bronx Nomads. Like I want to always run with everybody, It's like it's cool because like I was raised in the Bronx, but I was always in Throggs Neck, which is like the little side, the little island on the east side that nobody knows about, whatever. So it's nice to come to the Bronx and come to and see everybody. You know what I'm saying? So
and have a sense of community, and what I think I said it a little earlier. What's happening in the Bronx now is there's a big running boom here in the Bronx, and a lot of run groups are really blossoming, and there's more Bronxites taking part in the New York City Marathon, and it's very important because we are technically the unhealthiest county out of New York State. That's why we use the hashtag not 62, because out of 62 counties, we're on the bottom. And it's very beautiful to see all these run groups come together and support each other and represent health and fitness and social interaction with each other. It really brings us outside. So now I understand this is going to be your first marathon. Now people are probably going to ask you this who don't run, but what the hell are you thinking? What is going through your mind that makes you want to run 26.2 miles? What is it?
I don't know. I think it's like the challenge of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the first 5K I did, that was a challenge for me, and I did it. I conquered it. Then I did 10Ks. Then I did the half and the Staten Island half that you also ran, and I conquered it. So like I feel like it's always good to challenge yourself, and I feel like the marathon is a big challenge. I don't know if I'll ever be like an ultra runner, but I feel like I want to get up to the marathon running and stuff like that, and that would be my like completion for a runner. Like I'm not gonna stop doing marathons, but I want to like that would be my my I don't know the peak point of my running. So I don't know, that's my challenge for that.
So what are people around you who are not runners saying when you say this is what I'm doing, this is my journey, these are the goals that I have?
A lot of people say I'm crazy, and I agree, I guess. You got to be a little crazy, but I feel like once you start running, you cannot stop, So I feel like a lot of people also get inspired, A lot of people have told me that they are inspired. I don't know if they're going to run, but I always try to get them to run, But, I like to see that, and, not just like my friends and my family, but also like random people who like see me, Like they get inspired by the running. Some of them are going to start running. Some of them I'm trying to get to run a little bit, but it is what it is,
Yeah, it's always, running is, once you get past the phase that, everything hurts, and then you start to enjoy the runs and the camaraderie when you're running with other people, I think you really discover something that you want others to discover. You want them to have that too, because it's like, I found a happy place, and you could be there too. It just takes a little work, and but running the marathon is a little different than that. It takes a little crazy, and I'm a little crazy too. And to make it out of the Bronx, you got to be a little bit determined and crazy, and knowing that look at my surroundings, right? We don't have the best food, the best this, the best that, but people thrive and really come out of the Bronx like a phoenix from the ashes. And it happens time and time again, and stories don't really get told. And I think what you're referencing is a little bit of that, and you wanting to share that with others and the euphoria you get from runners. So anybody that's listening, whoever you are, wherever you are, I would encourage you to run. You don't have to do a marathon, but it is a great feeling. Now, okay, so you signed up for Marathon 2020. And so what is the longest distance so far that you have accomplished?
The longest run I've done is 16.3. So that's my most so far. and it wasn't too bad because I kind of ran at a okay pace. So I kind of, even after the 16.3, I felt like I could run a little bit more. But I mean, I've been doing a lot of long runs. I've been doing a lot of track work. I've been doing a lot of just running in general. So I'm like, I've been kind of training without really training yet. So like, I hope that when 2020 comes around, I'm good. I'm gonna be training all next year. I might take a little break in December just to, rest up a little bit, but I want to like work hard. I want to like do my thing, and I want to conquer the marathon. I really do.
So now, you're getting prepared. 2020, you're gonna be doing long runs. You're gonna be focusing on your nutrition. Is there any expectations?
I know a lot of people this week were like, before the marathon, they were feeling it or whatever, but I'm not at that stage. I don't feel that same thing. So I don't know what they're going through really right now, but I know right now they trained hard for this. So, this is their moment. That's why we're out here cheering for them. And, that what we give, we get back. So, so that's what I'm hoping for too.
We was actually referencing that earlier. Me and Carlos, we was actually talking about how that's the reason we out here now. It's because when we're out here, we get the same energy thrown at us. So before we finish up, is there anything that you would like to say to the people? Words of encouragement, something that's on your heart, anything. The floor is yours. You can say whatever you want.
So I think when I started running, I realized that it's not just about the running, it's about what you do when you're running. Like you build that consistency, you build that determination, you build like so much encouragement in yourself, and you start to love yourself a lot more too, I feel like. And not only that, but you learn how to love other people because you learn to support others. And when you start supporting people, you become a different person too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a big change. And like and it doesn't go as far as just running, like it goes with like, for instance, podcasts, doing anything like that. Like if you're consistent, you work hard, you're gonna get where you want to get, Because I know when you started, you weren't the best runner. Like none of us were, but Nova's like really fast dude. I don't know if anybody knows that, but he's fast. So right. And it's all because he trained. He was consistent, and honestly, consistent is the biggest thing on like being successful. So to anybody who wants to do anything in their life, like just be consistent. Don't give up on what you want, and you'll get it. You'll get there.
So wise words from my homie Eric. Be consistent in anything you do, because that's what's going to get you to that big stage ready. Because you never know when that day comes, and you have to be ready. So why not stay ready? Thank you, Eric. On social media, where can people find you?
EZ Hernandez. So that's an E, letter Z, and then the Hernandez, and that's it.
All right, thank you, Eric. Shout out to everybody at Boogie Down Bronx Running. Shout out to Miles Styles, Bronx Nomads, Bronx Soul, Bronx Rockets, Start Line Runners, all the Bronx running groups, Pints and Pavements. I hope I'm not missing anybody, because they might be mad at me, but it's all love. Who?
Cortland, right?
Oh, Van Cortland Track Club? The Track Club. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody. All love. Let's get back to the show. These people on. Woo! All right, we back, and they still running. It's crazy. They not stopping. But I'm here with a friend of mine. I would tell you his name, but I'm not. You know why? Because he's gonna introduce himself. Can you introduce yourself to the people, young man?
So hey, my name is Sebastian. I'm a part of the Bronx Nomads running crew.
Thank you for having this conversation with me, first and foremost. So now, what brings you out here today?
Well, most importantly, it was to support our captain, Michelle. Michelle, who's been there for us all through our down times, through our up times, She's been always motivating us, and she's basically the glue to our team. She's the one that keeps us together.
So for people who don't know, Michelle is one of the founders of the Bronx Nomads, which is a running group here in the Bronx. And they meet at Williams Oval, right? It's Williams Oval Park. And since she's been running this group, she's a very big part of the lives of her members. And that's what Sebastian's explaining. Now, we just finished seeing her pass by. We gave her all the love and support a runner could need to continue on for the next 6 miles, and she's looking good. What are your own marathon aspirations?
So for me, is I want to eventually run a marathon, probably continuously, probably for a while. But my first aspiration is to run a marathon in 2021, hopefully. And to be honest, as a goal of mine in my first marathon is probably to run under 4 hours.
So, what is it about running that you love so much that keeps you coming out week to week, running with the Nomads, running on your own, running with other groups? What keeps you coming out?
So about a year and a half ago, I was just this fat kid, just not really doing anything. After high school, all the physical activity went away. I was not really motivated as much, and I guess it was fate in some way, because like a month and a half ago, before I joined the Nomads, I started running on my own, doing a mile, here and there, running at like 13-minute pace or stuff like that. It wasn't something that I thought, oh wow, I can actually run and I can actually go out there and pace myself and get a little faster each and every day. But it was just something that I just wanted to do. I just love testing myself mentally, physically, and pushing limits is what I like to do.
What happened, or what changed your mind into how you was living? You said a year and a half ago you started running on your own before you started running with the Nomads, and you was this fat kid and you wanted change. What was the thought, or what was the moment that inspired this change?
To be honest, it was really most of the motivation came from the Nomads. They were the one that were inspiring me. The way how they went about things, how they supported their crew members. And little by little, it was something, I guess, subconsciously in me that I started running, and I started to go out there and just do it. I did it for fun at first, and I'm still doing it for fun, but now it's like I know how serious it can be for running, with the techniques, all the track workout that you have to do, the diet, the regimen, it's all like the recovery. I've been more and more intrigued into those aspects of things of running now.
So you said you was a overweight kid now. Now, how much weight did you lose?
About 56 pounds.
So you lost 56 pounds. What contributed to that weight loss? Was it just the running? Was it a lifestyle change, the way you was eating?
It was both. Around that time, I wanted just a change, and I don't like being complacent in one place. So what I did was I started changing the way I eat. I started eating out less, and when I did go out, I started making the healthier choice. Not eating too much fried food. Not constantly going out, because that would hurt my pockets eventually too. But now it's like I'm trying to eat more at home. I'm trying to see different ways how to cook healthier, or like see healthy food.
Awesome. Now, me and Sebastian, we know each other for a while, and we ran with each other some distance. We ran. So my memories with Sebastian, they vary. Now, one of the highlights that I love to go back into my mind with the thoughts of Sebastian was, it's not his probably highlight, but it's a highlight to me because I saw what he's capable of, and I wasn't even sure if he knew in that moment what he was capable of. And we ran with Team Wepa, not this past year, but the year before, for the summer. It was their anniversary run, and we ran 15 miles from, we ran all the way to Rockaway Beach, and it was Sebastian's first long run. And him being a young man, feeling real strong and confident, he ran too fast. That's why now he's focused on pacing himself more and understanding that. But what I saw on that day was he was strong, man, and he didn't know what his abilities, but now I think he understands it, because now he's leaner, stronger, faster, and more well thought out when he goes for his runs. So I want to say I'm proud of you for that. I'm always, anybody that comes from the Bronx and they come from my backyard, I like to see them shine. So I like to see Sebastian shine. Now, is there any advice that you can think of to give people who want to get into the sport of running?
I'd say do it at your pace. You know, try not to rush things because injuries do come, and try to do whatever your fastest is at the moment. Do it, and during training, never to go overboard. You know, like if you're training for a marathon, don't always go 100%. Even though a lot of people do tell you to do that, I'd say go about 80, 90%. You know, because at the end of the day, you don't want to burn yourself out by race day. And that's something that not only that I learned, but what Michelle has taught me as well is like, don't go overboard. Don't go too fast. Don't go that. You save that all for race day. And race day, that's where you go all out.
Awesome. That's great advice. Always keep some in the tank, because when you come out here, that's when you got to push it. So always reserve a little bit, because you don't want to get injured training. You'd rather get injured on race day after you cross that finish line. You know what I mean? So at least you got that medal. Now, on social media, where can people find you?
So right now my social media is runseb1. You know, you follow me on Instagram. On Twitter is s.flores1. You know, and I mean, enough promotion for me, but I just want to say thank you to Nova. Nova, who's been a very inspiring guy to me. He's very good, you know, always positive, great father. We never forget that. He's a great father, very supportive husband.
And I appreciate that, brother. And then on those beautiful vibes, we're going to give this energy to the people.